Would you believe that 2.5 million years ago, your ancestors had a 10 times higher statistical chance of being eaten for dinner than actually hunting a decent meal for themselves? Imagine a world with no walls, no locked doors, and not even a pair of shoes to protect your bare feet. Less than 40 meters away from where you sleep, in the pitch black, a creature with 6-inch claws is quietly sniffing the air, deciding if you look like a good appetizer. Welcome to the brutal reality of prehistoric life, a time when humans were just a light snack between antelopes. In Hollywood movies, we are constantly fed images of muscular cavemen casually wrestling giant lions with their bare hands and winning with ease. But that is a complete cinematic lie. The biological reality for the early genus Homo was a tragic and deeply disadvantaged story. Our ancestors back then were small, fragile creatures, with brains still in the early stages of evolution. They had no fire, no complex language, no sharp claws, and absolutely zero ability to engage in one-on-one combat with the megafauna of the Ice Age. Meaning, they were biologically a prey animal. When you analyze it deeply, from an evolutionary standpoint, human beings were born with severe biological disadvantages. We lack a thick coat of fur for protection. We do not have explosive sprinting speed, and our skin is incredibly soft against razor-sharp canine teeth. The predators of the Ice Age were not like the lions or leopards we see today. They were bigger, more savage, and perfectly engineered by nature to crush bone structures. Just look at Pachycrocuta brevirostris, a giant hyena the size of a modern lion that could crush the femur of a full-grown elephant like a breadstick. Alongside those bone-crushing hyenas roamed the saber-toothed cat Smilodon, sporting canine teeth up to 28 centimeters long, ready to pierce any skull, and giant cave bears that stood 12 feet tall. More terrifyingly, our ancestors had to establish their camps near natural water sources, where every massive predator also congregated to hunt. Essentially, every single day, our ancestors were voluntarily walking straight into a prearranged death trap. So how on earth did a creature so weak, slow, and naked manage to avoid extinction within the first 100,000 years? The first answer does not lie in weapons, but in a simple mathematical strategy: collective group living. When a human hunter moved within a tightly knit group of about 25 to 30 individuals, a biological phenomenon known as the dilution effect was instantly triggered. Through the eyes of a hungry saber-toothed cat, a lone target was a free meal. But a group of humans screaming, throwing rocks, and advancing together with crude wooden sticks was a massive risk calculation that the predator had to seriously reconsider. To understand this, we must look at a core principle of the natural world. Apex predators are actually deeply risk-averse creatures. For an Ice Age lion or leopard, a severe injury to a leg or an eye is a definitive death sentence. In the wild, losing the ability to hunt effectively means starving to death within weeks. Because of this razor-thin margin for error, these large carnivores always scan the landscape for the easiest, most defenseless prey possible to avoid a costly confrontation. When our ancestors coordinated their defense by creating chaotic noises, banging objects together, and hurling rocks from multiple angles, they completely shattered the predator's risk-reward equation. This collective aggression confused the beast. Natural selection is an incredibly merciless and strict teacher. The ancient human groups that learned to stand their ground together survived to pass on their genes, while the groups that panicked and scattered in all directions quickly became evolutionary history. If group living was the shield that kept humanity alive, the domestication of fire was the very first sword that allowed us to fight back. Fire did more than just provide warmth amidst the howling blizzards of the Ice Age. It did more than just cook meat to eliminate deadly foodborne parasites. The single greatest impact of fire lay in its ability to strike directly at the ultimate fatal weakness, hardwired into the nervous system of every wild animal: an ancient instinctual fear of wildfires and smoke. Picture a prehistoric hunter sitting safely inside a ring of roaring flames in the dead of night. The light radiating from the bonfire completely destroyed the stealth and night vision advantages of prowling predators. The intense heat and rising smoke triggered the primal brainstem of the beasts, convincing them that a catastrophic natural disaster was unfolding. Instead of creeping closer to attack, those glowing eyes in the dark could only watch from a distance in utter terror, before silently turning away into the shadows. Thanks to fire, the nighttime hours, which had traditionally been the most lethal period for early humans due to nocturnal big cats, suddenly became survivable. Humans began establishing strict shift guard systems, ensuring that the campfires never died out. Furthermore, these flames were used to fire-harden the tips of wooden spears. This transformed soft, pliable branches into high-penetration weapons with devastating lethal capacity, ready to challenge even the thickest hides of ancient monsters. Long before fire became a universally mastered tool, our ancestors had to solve the problem of nighttime survival by returning to their evolutionary roots, climbing trees. The anatomical structure of the shoulders and arms in early Homo species proves they retained excellent climbing adaptations long after their feet evolved for walking on the ground. Sleeping high up on thick branches kept them completely out of reach from ground predators like lions, hyenas, and wolves, though leopards remained a persistent climbing threat. When humans eventually shifted their shelters into rock caverns, one of the most violent real estate wars in prehistoric history began. A stone cave offered magnificent protection against the freezing winds of the Ice Age. However, ironically, caves were also the preferred denning sites for giant cave bears and cave lions. The archaeological record shows that humans and apex predators literally alternated occupancy of the exact same caves for thousands of years in a highly stressful and bloody time-sharing arrangement. What truly elevated human beings above all other species on Earth? It was not physical dominance, but the emergence of complex symbolic language. Because of language, a prehistoric hunter could return to the tribe and communicate invaluable data. There is a saber-toothed cat hiding near the eastern watering hole. If you see large, circular paw prints, avoid that trail entirely. Think about the staggering power this gave to a collective group trying to survive. In the animal kingdom, a young antelope must personally encounter danger to learn a survival lesson, and the cost of that lesson is usually its life. Animal knowledge dies with the individual. But with humans, language allowed knowledge to be accumulated, replicated, and transmitted across generations. We did not need to be mauled by a predator to know it was dangerous. Humanity built a massive cross-generational database of survival strategies, passed down from elders to children. This cognitive evolution directly triggered a revolution in weapon technology, epitomized by the wooden spears discovered in Schöningen, Germany, dating back 400,000 years. These were not just randomly sharpened sticks. They were meticulously carved, with the center of gravity intentionally weighted toward the front to optimize aerodynamic stability when thrown. Prehistoric hunters now possessed the ability to inflict lethal damage from a safe distance of 20 to 30 meters away, completely out of reach. Ranged weapons permanently altered the fundamental laws of nature. Previously, to harm a monstrous beast, you had to get close enough to touch it, placing yourself directly in harm's way. Now, a coordinated team of hunters could unleash a barrage of projectiles from multiple directions, driving the predator into a state of panic and blood loss before it could even lay a single claw on a human being. The ancient fear reversed its direction in a spectacular fashion. In addition to technology, the human body possessed a bizarre secret biological weapon: endurance. Running. We are one of the only mammalian species on Earth capable of sweating efficiently through our skin across almost our entire body surface area. Apex predators like lions can sprint at breathtaking speeds, but they dissipate heat primarily through panting. When a human hunter embarked on a persistence hunt, they could maintain a steady, relentless jogging pace for hours on end. A predator could easily outrun a human in a 10-second sprint, but if the race extended over 4 agonizing hours in the heat, the beast's internal cooling system would completely collapse. They would suffer from severe heat stroke, their muscles would seize up, and they would collapse to the ground long before the human arrived to deliver the final blow. We were nature's ultimate endurance machines. Slow, naked, but absolutely unstoppable, until the target dropped dead from exhaustion. To fully comprehend the magnitude of this great reversal, we can look at a true story, preserved in the ancient stone layers of an archaeological site. Scientists discovered the fossilized skeletal remains of a massive cave bear dating back 50,000 years. Incredibly, embedded deep within its vertebrae were 3 fire-hardened wooden spear tips. Surrounding the cave entrance were the remains of massive fire pits, arranged in a deliberate arc to completely block the beast's only escape route. The ferocious cave bear, an apex monster that had terrorized generations of early humans, ultimately died of blood loss and starvation inside its very own home. It was not brought down by a larger, stronger animal, but by a flawlessly coordinated plan executed over several days by small, fragile humans. The tribe used collective intelligence to turn their enemy's safest sanctuary into a stone coffin with no exit, signaling the definitive end of the era of predator dominance. By around 50,000 years ago, humanity had officially crossed the threshold of behavioral modernity. We were no longer pathetic refugees fleeing in the dark. Cave paintings were not mere decorations. They were military maps, recording migration routes and the anatomical weak points of megafauna. Humans began organizing industrial-scale hunts, systematically driving entire herds of woolly mammoths over steep cliffs, using coordinated walls of fire and terrifying acoustic noise. However, this epic tale of survival leaves us with a deeply profound and cautionary lesson. The exact moment humanity learned to conquer its fears and master technology, we became the most dangerous entity to ever walk the surface of this planet. The mass extinction wave of Earth's megafauna, including the woolly mammoth, the saber-toothed cat, and the giant cave hyena, coincides perfectly with the timeline of modern human footsteps expanding across the continents. What is the ultimate lesson here? The greatest strength of humanity does not stem from muscle mass or sharp fangs, but from our capacity for deep cooperation, unity, and shared intergenerational knowledge. Cooperation pulled us from the absolute bottom of the food chain to the throne of global dominance. But now that we stand at the apex, our advanced technologies can easily turn into tools of self-destruction if they are not accompanied by ecological empathy and global responsibility. The long journey from a naked, shivering creature in the freezing darkness of the Ice Age to the master of Earth's destiny proves that no adversity is insurmountable when we stand together. Adversity breeds greatness, and knowledge is the eternal fire that dispels all darkness. In our modern world today, what do you think is the most dangerous beast that humanity faces? And do you believe we can unite to overcome it, just as our ancestors did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.